Hey, everybody.
Hey.
It's a bit chillier of a morning than you probably expected when you came to Dallas, Texas, but what can you do?
It's all right.
It's
What
okay.
the hell, Dallas?
It'll warm up a little bit. So, cast and director of Love, Simon. Now, each of you have done a bit more action-oriented stuff, whether it's running from dinosaurs or dealing with superhero stuff. Is it kind of nice to chill back with a high school romance, or do you have to shift gears in your mind at all to make that switch?
Yeah, I mean, I think, well, you've like directed action stuff or produced action stuff. I've only like acted in action stuff. So,
Right.
you know, it's different, definitely. This is a more human story, though, which I think is nice. You could kind of get to take it more beat by beat versus, you know, the giant machinery that's around you.
Totally.
Yeah.
I always say the event here is great acting. That's the thing that, you know, watching them act and doing their thing, comedy, drama, the emotion of it. And you know, the audiences actually, when we've been around the country now with audiences watching it, they watch it with the fervor of watching a superhero film or a superhero show. Like, they're so engaged in his story and in him finding his love story and his friendships and his family. That's really rewarding to see.
Awesome. Now, I think this story, you know, the book before it and now the movie, is kind of destined to mean a lot for a lot of people. Were there any stories like that for each of you growing up that when you were in high school, like a certain book or movie that really meant a lot to your formative years?
What do you think?
Ooh, that's a good one. When I read To Kill a Mockingbird, granted this wasn't in high school, this was more like middle school, just before high school, but To Kill a Mockingbird really kind of changed the way that I look at choices that we make and judgment that we pass on people without really getting to know them and understanding them, and it only made me more compassionate and sympathetic for people that I don't know. And
Boo Radley?
yeah, man, I felt for Boo. I did.
Shouts out Boo.
Yeah, but Atticus was also such a good man, you know, when I think about Josh Duhamel's character in this and how he handles things. It's always with love and integrity. Even when he knows he might be wrong, he's not afraid to admit that he's right. And you see those characters, and that's when you know that it's a good movie, because it stands up to all those different testaments in those fantastic books that we grew up with.
Certainly. I definitely loved that bit of the movie, that you had good parent figures. You know, it wasn't the typical, like, my parents hate me for these things. Like, a lot of very supportive adults, which was nice. Anybody else have
I mean, I think to the nature of your question, you know, I watched we went back and rewatched, my director of photography and my composer and myself did an 80s marathon of all the different 80s films, you know, the John Hughes films and Cameron Crowe and, you know, you know, even things like The Outsiders, obviously Say Anything, Fast Times at Ridgemont High, and they all, the thing that I think that was so great about them at the time was that they made very small stories still feel iconic and big, and high school movies felt important, you know, but they still were sweeping and kind of an adventure. So they all stuck with me that way, technically, but because I was a closeted gay kid and couldn't really see myself in any of them, I didn't identify quite in the same way. I would imagine, well, maybe that character's gay, or what if they were both two guys instead of a guy and a girl? And it's just nice to be a part of something now where we can, you know, show real representation on the screen.
Awesome. Now, all of us are past high school age. Sorry to ruin the movie magic for any viewers at home. What was high school like for each of you? Because there are some really embarrassing moments in some parts of this film. I, no joke, went to class in my underwear at one point. My mom just told me to put pants on because I was homeschooled. But did you guys have any like big embarrassing moments that maybe you drew on for emotions when acting or directing?
I think going back to high school at all is strange, you know, just pretending to be back inside the classroom and everything, and kind of get a second go at it. I think it's the reason, kind of what Greg touched on too, is that, you know, high school is such a transformative time, and so everything feels so epic, and like it feels so you know, necessary when you're in it.
So intense.
It's so intense, yeah. The emotions are running high, and I think that this film is definitely no exception to that. I mean, I don't know. I can't think of a specific
He was a
instance.
cool kid in high school. What
Right,
he was a cool kid. He had no
obviously. He had
embarrassing
no
moments.
problem.
No, never had a. Yeah,
You never got beat up?
never once. You wouldn't want to be the first.
I do. I would love that. I'll be your first hit.
All right.
That's what a good friend does.
Yeah.
To really bully you after.
Yeah. Only problem is I know how to throw a hit, so keep that job.
I believe that.
Or down.
I would not want to mess with Alex for sure. Now, Oreos play kind of a big role in this movie. Do you guys have any like favorite Oreo flavors that you would go to?
I'm an original Oreo person myself, but mine is more about the technique of eating the Oreo. I like to counterclockwise turn the Oreo and then eat the insides first. I'm one of those
Totally.
people.
Gotta have strategy.
Exactly.
Strategy,
Gotta,
yeah.
That's how you approach the Oreo.
Thin Mints for me. I just discovered them. There's like the Girl Scout Thin Mint Oreo.
I just had some of those last night.
They're so good. They're so good.
That's a thing?
Yeah.
Wow.
We'll have to get you some Thin Mints.
Right? Because all I ever do when I see those Girl Scouts is I'm like, you get out of here. You keep those boxes of cookies away from me, honey. I like the birthday cake ones.
Nice.
I like them. I like the way they smell. I like the way they taste. I like birthday cake stuff.
Cool. So, I guess last question before I let you guys go and maybe warm up a little bit. Is there anything that you would maybe tell high school kids or your younger selves who are maybe struggling with their identity or just to fit in at such a transformative time of their lives? What advice would you give young people?
It sounds
Should we go
trite,
down?
but
Okay.
it does get better. And I think once you find your voice and you learn how to sort of speak your truth, that's when you'll find allies and people to support you, and you know that's where your best life lives. You know, and in coming out myself, it was a journey, but it led to so many amazing things in my life, and that I'm really really grateful for. So hang in there and know that you're meant to be exactly who you are.
I'd say that I agreed. I think that you are enough, and whoever you are, you have enough to be exactly what you need to be. So just speak your truth and don't be afraid to just to go for it. I think take chances.
I like that. I think that, in this movie we say it in the title that everyone deserves a great love story, but, you don't have to force yourself into a love story. I think that in high school we think, oh man, everyone's dating. I have to date someone. And just dating yourself is actually pretty great too. Everyone deserves a great love story, but not every great love story exists in high school, and that's okay. It's okay to not have that.
I like that a lot. Well, Love, Simon comes out this Friday, March 16th. Thank you guys so much. Enjoy your time in Dallas.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.